I never thought I'd be the guy sharing my story online, but here I am. Maybe it's because I need to get this off my chest, or maybe I just want to warn others who might be in my shoes. It all started when my wife of 7 years told me she needed space. At first, I didn't think much of it. We had been together for so long, and everyone needs a little breathing room sometimes, right? So, I did what any reasonable husband would do, I stepped back. I gave her time. I gave her space. I let her be. And that's when everything started to unravel. At first, she seemed appreciative. She said she needed time to figure things out, to work on herself. I respected that. But then, things started getting weird. She stopped texting me during the day. Our usual phone calls became short and awkward. When I came home, she was either out with friends or locked away in the bedroom. One night, I asked her directly if something was wrong, if I had done something to push her away. She sighed, looked me in the eyes, and said, "I just need to figure things out on my own." Fine. I gave her even more space. Then, I noticed a shift. Instead of relief, she seemed irritated. The more distance I gave her, the more restless she became. If I didn't text her, she'd get upset. If I made plans with friends, she suddenly wanted to know where I was. It was confusing as hell. She wanted space, yet she was acting like I was abandoning her. Then, one night, she left her phone on the counter while she was in the shower. A notification popped up, one of those preview texts that show up even when the phone is locked. It was from a name I didn't recognize. The message? Did he suspect anything? My heart stopped. My hands shook. I knew I shouldn't, but I had to look. I had to know. What I found shattered me. Messages upon messages between her and another man. Plans. Confessions. Lies. It had been going on for months. And the worst part? She had been using that space to be with him. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Everything we had built, our marriage, our life, our love, was a lie. I confronted her that night, and I will never forget the look on her face. It wasn't guilt. It wasn't remorse. It was panic. She freaked out. She started crying, begging me to understand. She claimed it was a mistake, that she never meant for it to go this far. She told me she still loved me. That she just needed excitement. That she didn't want to lose me. But it was too late. The trust was gone. I packed a bag that night and left. I wish I could say that was the end of it, but it wasn't. She called, she texted, she showed up at my work in tears. The woman who needed space was now desperate to close the gap. But I couldn't go back. So, to anyone out there who hears the words, "I need space," be careful. Because sometimes, it's not about needing time to think. Sometimes, it's about making room for someone else. And that's a lesson I learned the hard way. But my story didn't end there. For weeks, I lived in a daze, trying to piece together the broken fragments of my life. It wasn't just about the betrayal, it was about the emotional manipulation. The gaslighting. The way she had made me feel like the problem when, in reality, she had been lying to me all along. I started digging deeper, retracing our past. Looking back, the signs had been there for months, maybe even years. The sudden interest in fitness, the late nights at work, the secretive behavior with her phone. I had ignored it all because I loved her, and love, unfortunately, makes you blind. One day, I received a message from an unknown number. It was a man claiming to be the husband of the woman my wife had been seeing. He had found out everything, just like I had. We exchanged stories, compared timelines. Turns out, our spouses had been weaving an intricate web of deceit for nearly a year. The betrayal cut even deeper. But something shifted in me after that conversation. Instead of drowning in my pain, I felt a strange sense of clarity. My wife's actions weren't a reflection of me or my worth. They were a reflection of her own selfishness and inability to be honest. I decided I was done being the victim. I focused on rebuilding myself, mentally, emotionally, physically. I reconnected with old friends, started hitting the gym, threw myself into work. Every day was a battle against the urge to sink back into the pain, but I pushed forward. Then, out of the blue, my wife reached out again. She wanted to meet. Said she wanted to talk. Against my better judgment, I agreed. When we met, she looked different, tired, regretful. She told me she had ended things with the other guy. That she had made a mistake. That she wanted another chance. For the first time in months, I didn't feel hurt. I didn't feel angry. I felt indifferent. I told her no. That chapter of my life was closed. Walking away from her that day, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I had spent so much time wondering why she did what she did, why she threw our marriage away. But the truth is, some questions don't have answers. And sometimes, the best closure is simply moving on. To anyone going through something similar, hold on. It gets better. You'll realize that the love you thought you lost wasn't the love you needed. The real love you need is the love you have for yourself. And that's a lesson I'll never forget.